She's been coming into branches for the last few weeks taking money. Yesterday we got a call from back office. She's not who she says she is. They've already blocked the account. We've confirmed with the client that this is not her. Okay. She's taken a lot of money from these people.
All right, I'm going to place you under arrest.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you could just step down.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
On April 6th, 2023, officers arrested a woman for identity fraud at a Citibank branch in Delray Beach, Florida. The legal issues raised span the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments.
Is he in there?
How are you?
Is my partner in there?
He's with the girl.
Okay.
So I just want to give you a little bit of a history without her hearing me.
Okay.
She's been coming into branches for the last few weeks taking money. Yesterday we got a call from back office. She's not who she says she is. They've already blocked the account. We've confirmed with the client that this is not her.
Okay.
She's taken a lot of money from these people.
Ma'am, can I speak to you for a second?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I guess what's going on with your account?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
All right. Do you have your ID with you?
She has it.
She has it?
Yes.
All right. What's your name? Grace?
Yeah, she has all the information.
Okay. Here, let's go over to the counter.
I was going to use the restroom.
Well, give it a second, all right?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Here, let's just go to the counter here. All right. Could you see that we get her ID? I guess there's some confusion about who you are and what your accounts are.
There should be.
Okay.
Yeah. Can we go outside?
No.
Oh.
Here, have a seat right here for me. Here, have a seat. Here, have a seat. All right. Now, who gave you this check?
It's right here.
Okay. And what did they give you the check for?
I'm a lawyer, so.
Okay. All right. So it's for services?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you live in Coral Gables right now?
Yes, I have an Airbnb that I'm doing in Biscaya,
Okay.
so.
All right. So what does La Raza Enterprises do?
It's one of the my clients.
Okay. With like what kind of work do you what business are they in?
I'm not sure. It's my client. He wrote the check.
Okay. You say he's your client, but you don't know what business he's in?
No, I'm sorry.
So far down.
Is it a person or an actual business?
No, it's a person.
Okay.
We've already moved on the roadway, so everything is worth putting down.
Oh, it's there.
Hello.
Hey, sit with her for a second.
Come here and be a translator.
Hey,
Yeah.
I need to know what's going on.
I just told your partner. So she's been coming into 2 branches the last few weeks withdrawing money. We got an email from back office yesterday that this is not the client.
So this company, they said did not issue
This
her the check.
actual person does not. This is not her.
That's not her.
We've got emails yesterday from back office that person has not came into a branch at all.
Right.
She lives in Coral Gables. That's where she does all her banking. She
Right.
does not come to Delray.
So she's not.
That's correct.
And we don't know who she is.
That's correct. I have a client who needs a translator in the lobby. I'm not sure what she needs. She's sitting down. Stay with her.
She came in yesterday, and immediately after I did the transaction, we received emails from the representative for the client, because they're actually kind of a high-level client.
Right.
And
This
immediately,
La Raza Enterprises?
no, it's the exact same name as her, And there's also another signer on the account, so it's the two of them. Has nothing to do with any business, at least on their personal accounts, but that's where she's transacting, is the personal account. The account number is
But
on
we're
the
saying
back.
this is a fake ID?
It's got to be, because that's not her. That is the address of the client, but that's not her. And she's also gone to the Boynton branch, and we looked at their transactions. They never come up here. They're like Coral Gables.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, they confirmed that it's not. She is not the client.
She is not the client, but,
She is
and,
not.
and there is a client named,
She is not her. Okay. She is not her.
oh, okay. I'm still confused. So how do they know that who she is?
They looked at their banking, their online banking, and saw transactions that were not authorized by the client. So they
Now,
contacted
the client
us.
being,
No, the client is, I don't know where this check came from. She's depositing it. Yesterday, she deposited a check and made a withdrawal. And so they saw on their online banking that, they did not do the clients.
Right.
Did not do the transactions. So they verified it's confirmed fraud. She is committing fraud, this
right,
woman that's
and she's
here.
trying to deposit this?
Trying to deposit. Yesterday, she took cash back, but that is not her.
Okay.
They confirmed it last night. We've been emailing back and forth since like almost immediately after the transaction.
What brought you up here?
I have an Airbnb that I'm working on in Biscaya.
Oh, nice. Biscaya? It's far from here, isn't it?
Oh, it's right here on Breast Atlanta.
Oh, that Biscaya. I was thinking Dayton Biscaya. What do you drive? Ma'am? Ma'am?
A Cadillac.
A Cadillac? What color is it?
White.
Let me just check this in the car on the computer. I'll be right back.
She drives a white Cadillac, she said.
All right. Cadillac out here. Yeah.
So I'm on the phone. This client is right now in a police station in Miami right now.
This,
The actual lady is in a police station right
this
now in
Grace
Miami.
Escalona?
Correct.
yeah, well, this is the actual woman.
Yeah, that's
Similar, but not, but not.
definitely not.
I think I forgot to advise
Do you need to speak to them because I have them on the phone, or does that not matter?
No, it'll be good to speak to them.
Okay, let me tell them.
They're in the police department?
She's in a police department in Miami.
Have her speak to an officer to get a sworn statement.
Sworn statement.
Yeah, a sworn statement, if possible on video, if not, paper is good.
Perfect.
Okay? Alright, I think we figured this out. Alright, I'm required to warn you before you make any statements that you have the following constitutional rights, okay? You have the right to remain silent and not answer any questions, do you understand? You have the right to remain, any statement you make must be freely and voluntarily given, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to the presence and representation of a lawyer of your choice before you make any statements and during any questioning, do you understand? Okay, understand that? Alright, now you said you're a lawyer, so I guess all those rights you understand. Alright, I guess the big question is, well, I have your driver's license in hand, what's your real name?
That is I'll speak to my attorney.
Alright, you can do that.
Thank you.
Alright, I'm going to place you under arrest.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you could just step down.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Turn it for you. That's all I was doing. Trying to be resist
I'm just trying to make it
Yeah, I'm looking at
comfortable for you.
Yeah.
If you do it like you're praying, it's more comfortable.
Let's grab this one. I should put these things down first. Alright, I'm placing you under arrest for fraud.
Okay.
Alright, what we're going to do is I'm going to collect some information. You want to hang with her for a second while I get some of the supporting stuff? I guess you were here yesterday, you withdrew some money? Okay.
I'm just going to talk to my attorney.
Alright, sounds good.
The woman upheld the criminal code and refused to make any statements. She was taken down to the local jail, where detectives would attempt to have a talk with her.
A sworn statement from her. Citibank said I have to subpoena everything. She would give me a sworn statement, video, copies of the documents. The only thing I got is the check today.
Okay.
And I spoke to the actual victim who said she doesn't know who this woman is, she doesn't know how she got her information, and she doesn't even know who this company is.
Okay.
But she was trying to deposit, and basically yesterday she deposited yesterday she deposited a $5,800 check from some company called Axio, and she withdrew $4,000 immediately after. So she stole $4,000, and today she was going to attempt to deposit that. We don't know how much she was going to withdraw.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you read Miranda?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. He said he read you Miranda already. Do you understand all that? Okay. Would you like to speak with me for a few minutes?
No, I just want to talk to my attorney.
Okay. And you said you did get her real name and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's examine the constitutional framework. Florida Statute Section 817-568 prohibits the willful and unauthorized use of another person's personal area, place, and identification information for fraudulent purposes. When total fraudulent transactions exceed $50,000, the offense elevates from a third degree to a first-degree felony, carrying up to 30 years imprisonment under Florida law. The suspect presented at least 2 fraudulent checks. Under Florida Statute Section 831-0-9, uttering a forged instrument is itself a felony. Each check is a separate count. Grand theft under Florida Statute Section 812-014 applies independently. A confirmed total exceeding $50,000 constitutes a second-degree felony regardless of identity statutes. The brief pre-arrest detention inside the bank is governed by Terry v. Ohio, 1968. That standard requires only reasonable, articulable suspicion, a lower bar than probable cause. The bank manager's briefing satisfied that threshold the moment officers entered the building. No Fourth Amendment issue attaches to the investigative detention phase of this encounter. The warrantless arrest is authorized under Florida Statute Section 901-15 and the Fourth Amendment's probable cause standard, addressed by the Supreme Court in Gerstein v. Pugh, 1975. Illinois v. Gates, 1983, established the totality of circumstances test for probable cause. Here, back office fraud, confirmation, the victim's sworn statement, transaction records, and a fraudulent identification document all converged before any restraint was applied. No single element was required to carry the probable cause analysis. Every available data point pointed in the same direction. The Fourth Amendment standard was met. Miranda v. Arizona, 384 U.S. 436, 1966, requires that prior to custodial interrogation, a suspect must be advised of the right to remain silent and the right to counsel. The officer administered the full advisement and confirmed comprehension. The suspect's claim to be an attorney did not waive her rights. It simply confirmed she understood them. When the suspect stated she wished to speak to her attorney, all questioning was legally required to cease. Officers complied immediately. No Miranda violation is present. Under Bergwis v. Tompkins, 560 U.S. 370, 2010, the invocation of the right to counsel must be unambiguous. The suspect's statement, "I just want to talk to my attorney," met that standard. Use of force is analyzed under Graham v. Connor, 490 U.S. 386, 1989. Force must be objectively reasonable, from the perspective of a reasonable officer at the moment of the decision. No meaningful force was applied here. The officer verbally guided the handcuffing procedure and stated the charge clearly. The arrest falls well within constitutional parameters. The suspect was convicted and sentenced to 9 months of probation. While on probation, she committed additional fraud, triggering a federal investigation. Under 18 U.S.C. Section 1028A, aggravated identity theft carries a mandatory 2-year consecutive sentence. Federal wire fraud exposure under Section 1343 added further liability. The responding officers receive a grade of A-. The Miranda advisement was complete, legally compliant, and confirmed. The investigative approach produced evidentiary value without a single constitutional violation. One area for refinement. When the suspect moved toward the restroom, a clearer verbal direction to remain seated would have removed ambiguity about the lawful scope of the investigative detention at that stage. The suspect receives a grade of C-. Her Fifth Amendment invocation after the Miranda advisement was the legally correct choice that protection exists for all individuals. However, Her prior statements claiming professional credentials while unable to identify her own client provided investigators additional evidentiary inconsistencies. The sustained multi-victim scheme is the primary driver of this grade. Citibank receives a grade of A. Real-time back-office fraud detection, cross-branch monitoring, and coordination with the account holder built the complete evidentiary foundation for a lawful arrest. No constitutional issues attributable to bank staff. 3 legal takeaways. First, under Florida law, a single dollar threshold transforms identity theft from a third-degree to a first-degree felony. The difference between $25,000 and $50,000 means the difference between 5 and 30 years. Second, once a suspect unambiguously invokes the right to counsel, all questioning must stop. Officers who continue after a clear invocation expose prosecutions to suppression motions under the exclusionary rule. Third, check fraud depends on the float window, the gap between a check clearing and fraud detection. Modern real-time back-office alerts have compressed that window. This case demonstrates how quickly that architecture closes. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like analyzed in the comments below. Thank you for watching. And do not forget to check out Audit the Court for more police interaction and courtroom content.